The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Tilani Pires. The headlines. The government affirms unwavering commitment to advance women's rights. The round of diplomatic consultations between Sri Lanka and China is a success. Special public security arrangements are made in view of the Poson full moon celebration. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce inks an agreement with its Gujarat's counterpart. The internship program for Ayurveda graduates is resumed. And on international news, the Russian president vows to support North Korea against the United States. And on sports, women's cricket, Kavisha Dilhari stars as Sri Lankan women beat West Indies women by 5 wickets. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has affirmed that all agreements with the International Women's Organization mandate that women must have the same rights as men. He emphasized that the judiciary, executive legislature or any other institution cannot interfere with these activities. The president reiterated that the government's goal is to ensure equal rights for women in the country and stressed his commitment to this objective. Furthermore, President Wickremesinghe made it clear that the government will not accept any decisions that could harm the existence of Buddhism. President Ranil Wickremesinghe made these remarks during his address at the ceremony held at the Sirikota Party headquarters today, where letters of appointment were distributed to zonal organizers appointed under the United National Party's new reorganization drive. Sri Lanka and China concluded the 13th round of diplomatic consultations in Beijing yesterday. The consultations were led by the Secretary of Foreign Affairs Aruni Vijayawardena and Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of China Song Weidong. Both sides reviewed bilateral cooperation in a wide range of areas, including recent high-level visits, economic and trade enhancement, debt restructuring, people-to-people exchanges, tourism, as well as recent developments in multilateral fora. The Foreign Secretary appreciated China's assistance to Sri Lanka during challenging times and the context of priority given by Sri Lanka to economic recovery and growth, identified potential avenues for further cooperation on green initiatives, agriculture modernization, renewable energy, food security, investment promotion, as well as enhancement of trade, tourism and people-to-people contacts. The Chinese Vice Minister encouraged Sri Lanka in its ongoing progress and highlighted the current and future potential of the growing economy of China for further expansion of the export market, inward investments and people-centered sustainable growth. Both sides recalled their long-standing bilateral relations based on mutual respect and reaffirmed their commitment to further consolidate bilateral ties based on sovereign equality and peaceful coexistence. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce (CCC) has signed an agreement with the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry (SGCCI) to increase trade cooperation between India and Sri Lanka. The MOU was signed by the Chief Executive Officer of the CCC and the President of the SGCCI in the presence of the Consul General for Sri Lanka in Mumbai, India. With the signing of the MOU, the two entities aim to facilitate trade between India and Sri Lanka via initiatives such as trade fairs, delegations, business networking events and training programs. This partnership will open doors for Sri Lankan businesses to explore opportunities in the dynamic Indian market and enable the sharing of expertise and resources between the two regions. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Minister Sisira Jakudi announced that the halted internship training for Ayurveda graduates, which was delayed due to the ongoing crisis, has recommenced. He highlighted that the internship program offers a monthly pay of 67,500 rupees, with the government allocating 320 million rupees for this initiative. The State Minister Jakudi further stated that the ministry has achieved significant progress. Previously, due to various crises, the internship training for graduates of Ayurveda from universities was delayed. However, internship training for 207 graduates of Ayurveda Siddha and Unani medicine was commenced in early June with a monthly payment of 67,500 rupees. Additionally, training for another 153 graduates will begin by August. In total, the Department of Ayurveda will be providing training for 418 graduates, with the government allocating 320 million rupees for this initiative. The State Minister made these remarks at a press briefing titled Collective Paths to a stable country held at the President Media Center today. The Director General of Department of Wildlife Conservation, Chandana Suryabandara, said that a census of wildlife elephants will be carried out this year. Officers attached to the department will be contacted in this regard soon. Any interested volunteer can join the census as well. The previous wild elephant census was conducted 13 years ago in 2011. According to that calculation, the least number of elephants in the country is 5,876. That ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The IGB Deshabandhu Tennakon said that a special security program is being carried out throughout the country in view of Poson Poya Day. Accordingly, a special security program will be implemented in the places where Poson Festival will be held. Accordingly, 19,062 police officers, 370 police special task force officers, 607 military personnel and 26,013 community police committee members have been deployed all over the island to provide security to the devotees. Meanwhile, 322 Poson zones will be in display across the island. Meanwhile, the police said that a special traffic plan is being implemented during the Poson celebration week. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And on Watchlight tonight, a discussion is scheduled to be held today between the University Grants Commission and representatives of the University Trade Union Joint Committee to address the wage issues of the non-academic staff of universities. The co-chairman of the Joint Committee, Dhammika Espriante, emphasized that the strike action, now in its 48th day, will continue until proper solutions are provided by the authorities. Underscoring the urgency of finding an immediate solution, it was further stated that if the UGC also fails to offer adequate solutions, the trade union action will persist. That came to you in Watchlight. Coming up, World News. World News headlines first. The Russian president vows to support North Korea against the United States. The UN says Gaza conflict has caused major environmental damage. President Biden will give legal status to undocumented spouses. The Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed to deepen trade and security ties with North Korea and to support it against the United States as he headed to the reclusive nuclear-armed country for the first time in 24 years. In a signal that Russia is veto-wielding member of the United Nations Security Council is reassessing its entire approach to North Korea, President Putin praised Pyongyang for resisting what he said was U.S. economic pressure, blackmail and threats. In an article published by North Korean state media, Putin promised to jointly resist illegitimate unilateral restrictions to develop the trade and strengthen security across Eurasia. According to a UN report on environmental impact of the war, the conflict in Gaza has created unprecedented soil, water and air pollution in the region, destroying sanitation systems and leaving tons of debris from explosive devices. A preliminary assessment from the UN Environment Programme says the war has swiftly reversed limit progress in improving the region's water desalination and wastewater treatment facilities and investments in solar power installations. The report further said that the explosive weapons have generated some 39 million tons of debris, while each square meter of the Gaza Strip is littered with over 107 kilograms of debris. President Joe Biden is set to announce a new policy that would protect hundreds of thousands of undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation, according to administration officials. The action will apply to those who have been in the country for at least 10 years and will allow them to work in the U.S. legally. It marks the most significant relief program for undocumented migrants already in the U.S. since the Obama administration announced the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals in 2012. The White House believes over 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens will benefit from this. Earlier in June, Mr. Biden vowed to make the U.S. immigration system more fair and more just. Back to the world news headlines. The Russian president vows to support North Korea against the United States. The UN says Gaza conflict has caused major environmental damage. President Biden will give legal status to undocumented spouses. That ends World News.
Development News.
The Principal Social Development Specialist of the Asian Development Bank, ADB, Kiko Nowaka, said Sri Lanka is among the initial countries to pilot the Asian Development Bank WE Finance Code, which is a global commitment funded by the Women Entrepreneurs Finance Initiative aimed at increasing women's access to finance and support their economic empowerment. Accordingly, the ADB will tailor the WE Finance Code to respond to Sri Lanka's key priorities for women entrepreneurs, with three key components: fostering a women-led small and medium-sized enterprises, focused policy and regulatory framework, incentivizing private sector engagement, including through digital solutions, and fostering evidence and knowledge through peer learning and new evidence. That came to you in Development News. Moving on with sports news. And it's women's cricket tonight. Sri Lanka produced a clinical performance to beat the West Indies by 5 wickets in the second one-day international match at Galle International Stadium, Galle, today. The Windies captain, Sherman Campbell, won the toss and opted to bat first. But the call backfired as the visitors were all out for 92 due to the disciplined Sri Lankan bowling attack led by off-spinner Kavisha Dilhari, who claimed 4 wickets for 20 runs in 6 overs. In reply, the hosts claimed the victory, scoring 93 runs or 5 wickets in 21 overs. The win gave Sri Lanka an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series, which is also a part of the ICC Women's Championships 2022-2025, which is a qualifying event for the Women's Cricket World Cup 2025. That ends Sports News.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Adding a wealth of knowledge to the HR sector in the island, the National HR Conference organized by the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management Sri Lanka was concluded successfully. This collective effort provided a platform for sharing insights, learning from experts and engaging in meaningful discussions collectively, shaping the further of HR field with a focus on humanity, resilience and collaboration. The 2-day program themed Navigating the HR Horizon was graced by the High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And on economic news, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the Global Alliance for a Sustainable Planet signed by a memorandum of understanding to tackle urgent climate change issues and promote sustainable development globally. This partnership comes as a recent intergovernmental panel on climate change report highlights a significant risk of global temperatures rising 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels within the next few years due to increasing greenhouse gas emissions. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
The prevailing rainy condition in the southwestern part of the island is expected to be somewhat enhanced in the next few days from tomorrow. Showers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamua and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Matra districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabragamua provinces. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Batticaloa districts in the evening or night. Strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern, north-central and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee, Hambantota and Monaragala districts. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The government affirms unwavering commitment to advance women's rights. The round of diplomatic consultations between Sri Lanka and China is a success. Special public security arrangements are made in view of the postponed full moon celebration. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce inks an agreement with its Gujarat's counterpart. The internship program for Ayurvedic graduates is resumed. And on international news, the Russian president vows to support North Korea against the United States. Sports news and its women's cricket. Kavisha Dilhari stars as Sri Lankan women beat West Indies women by 5 wickets. That ends this news broadcast, and now it's back to Chandima Virakon, as always on a Tuesday night.
Thank you very much, Thilani. That was Thilani Pires bringing you the night bulletin of news, and the time moves precisely to 9 p.m. And we are ready to commence the Family Choice program. From now on, the phone line is open. The number for you to call me is 269-4316.